Hello viewers and my dear student, welcome you all in today's live class. I am Divya Pandey from RGCSK. I am here to announce about our regular live classes. Hope you have been missed our live classes. From now onwards we are going to start the regular live classes on each Tuesday of each week. So today I am here regarding to discuss the very important topic of obstetrical and gynecological nursing, that is hyperemesis gravidarum. But before starting with our class, I would like to request each and every one of you to please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel rgcsk.edu for further more live classes and more updates regarding updating your knowledge on nursing education as well as for the paramedical courses. So here we will start with our topic, that is hyperemesis gravidarum. Hyperemesis gravidarum. The term hyperemesis gravidarum contains the following three words. These are hyper, emesis and gravidarum. Hyper means excessive or we can say more. Emesis means vomiting, that is a medical term used for vomiting, that is emesis. And gravidarum means pregnancy, when the mother is being conceived, that is hyper means during the time of pregnancy mother will have the excess amount or more episodes of vomiting, that is in a simple word known as hyperemesis gravidarum. Next we'll see in a simple term, hyperemesis gravidarum refers to the excessive vomiting during pregnancy. As we know, morning sickness is a common symptom of pregnancy, usually occurring during the first trimester. In the condition, a woman experiences nausea, vomiting typically in the morning. What happened when the mother get conceived during the first trimester? First trimester means starting 3 months of pregnancy. In 3 months of pregnancy, the HCG hormone will increase and that can lead to the vomiting in the mother. Every morning when the mother will get up from the bed, she will feel like nauseated feeling will be there, morning sickness will be there, weakness will be there, mother will feel lethargic. So this is normal, but when the episodes of vomiting are increased and it will affect the daily routine of the mother, that condition is known as hyperemesis gravidarum and it is an abnormal condition. Normally the mother will have the vomiting, but when it is coming in an abnormal form, that is known as hyperemesis gravidarum. Next we will see regarding some definitions are there for hyperemesis gravidarum. Hyperemesis gravidarum is an abnormal condition during pregnancy characterized by persistent nausea and vomiting, weight loss, dehydration and sometimes the accumulation of ketone bodies. Normally क्या होता है कि अगर प्रेगनेंसी है, फर्स्ट ट्राइमेस्टर में वुमेन को वोमिटिंग होगी, यूजुअली टिल द सेकेंड मंथ ऑफ टाइम मदर विल हैव वोमिटिंग. उसके बाद वो साइन एंड सिम्टम्स क्या होंगे, सबसाइड हो जाएंगे, लेकिन उस नोजिया वोमिटिंग के से मदर की बॉडी पे कोई एडवर्स इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, उसको कोई हेल्थ इश्यूज़ नहीं होंगे. बट अगर मदर को हाइपरेमेसिस ग्रेविडारम है, दैट टाइम मदर विल हैव द प्रॉब्लम लाइक मदर विल बी वेरी कन्फ्यूज्ड or weight loss will be there, electrolyte imbalance will be there and there will be accumulation of ketone bodies in the body. ketone bodies का मतलब क्या होता है कि जब कार्बोहाइड्रेट की डिफिशिएंसी हो जाती है हमारी बॉडी में और हमारी बॉडी क्या करती है, फैट को एनर्जी का सोर्स बना के यूटिलाइज करने लगती है, दैट इज कंडीशन इज नोन एज कीटोन एक्यूमुलेशन और कीटोसिस. नेक्स्ट अदर डेफिनेशंस विल सी अकॉर्डिंग टू द DC Datta, it is severe form of vomiting during pregnancy that adversely affect the patient's health and can hinder her day-to-day activities. मीन्स नॉर्मल अगर प्रेगनेंसी में वोमिटिंग होती है तो वुमेन को कोई भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी उसकी डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज़ करने के लिए, लाइक नॉर्मल बाथिंग हो गया, रूटीन वर्क करना हो गया, कुकिंग हो गया, इन सारी चीज़ों में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. लेकिन अगर वही कंडीशन हाइपरेमेसिस ग्रेविडारम में चेंज हो रही है, एक तो मदर को क्या होंगे, वोमिटिंग के एपिसोड्स बहुत ज़्यादा होने लगेंगे, देन मदर वोंट बी कैपेबल ऑफ ईटिंग एनीथिंग, ओरली पेशेंट कुछ भी मदर नहीं ले पाएगी और उसकी वजह से वेट लॉस होगा, कोई भी काम नहीं कर पाएंगे बिकॉज मदर विल फील लेथार्जिक एंड उसको बहुत वीकनेस आएगी, दैट्स वाई. नेक्स्ट विल सी hyperemesis gravidarum occur when vomiting becomes uncontrollable in early pregnancy leading to fluid and electrolyte imbalances as well as nutritional deficiencies. Hospital admission is often required. The clinical feature that define the condition includes persistent nausea and vomiting, means there will be a continuous nausea and vomiting episodes will be there. Dehydration due to deficiency or loss of more fluids from the body, and ketonuria means presence of ketone bodies in the urea. in urine, and the electrolyte imbalance due to loss of electrolytes because the woman is having severe vomiting and more episodes of vomiting. Weight loss exceeding 5% of pre-pregnancy pre-pregnancy weight means it will also interrupt the pregnancy weight, as we normal know that 11 to 12 kgs of weight gain mother will get during those 9 months of pregnancy. So it will also interrupt that thing, that can lead to the fetal growth interruption can be there, because mother is not taking anything. There will be a deficiency of nourishments, nutrients deficiency will be there, so it can also affect the growing fetus. There will be some conditions can be arise, or the baby will have some deficiencies because nourishment is properly not going to the fetus. As we know, whatever mother is taking, that nourishment only going to the fetus. So when the mother is having severe nausea and vomiting, mother will not take anything, that can lead to electrolyte imbalance as well as nutritional deficiency to the mother, as it can also affect the growing fetus also. Next, some etiological factors are there behind why the mother is having hyperemesis gravidarum. Typically limited to the first trimester. Normally that vomiting, those episodes are limited to the first trimester of pregnancy for those 3 months. Then more common in the first pregnancy, if a mother is first time, the primi gravida mother is there, first time conceiving the pregnancy, that time the mother will have more chances of getting vomiting, because the mother body is not used to with the pregnancy. Tends to reoccur in the subsequent pregnancy, like if like in a first pregnancy mother was having hyperemesis gravidarum, so there are chances if second or third time mother is getting conceived, that time she also again having the chances of hyperemesis gravidarum. Familiar history, mothers and sister may be experiencing the similar symptoms, like your grandmother or maternal grandmother having same sign and symptom during pregnancy. Then your mother was also having the same sign and symptom during her pregnancy. You are also getting same sign and symptoms. So it can be called as an familiar history, because hereditary, it is transferring from one generation to another generation. More prevalent in the cases of heredity for mole and multiple pregnancy, like if a mother is having twins baby or triplet or quadruplets, that time HCG content will be more, and that time mother may feel the more nausea and vomiting. And if a abnormal condition, that is heredity for mole, is developing in the uterine cavity, that time also HCG hormone secretion will be more, and that can also lead to the hyperemesis and gravidarum. Then often seen in the unplanned pregnancies. Unplanned pregnancies, like mother is unaware about that she had been conceived. It like 3 or 4 months is over and mother is not aware that she is being pregnant. She will eat anything, or she will go anywhere, or she will she won't be recognized what allergies she is having. That time in unplanned pregnancies also mother can feel, or mother may have the condition of hyperemesis gravidarum. Next we will see regarding risk factor, who are in the risk of getting hyperemesis gravidarum. First is age below 17 years or more than 35. Like this is the age group which is having the complications with the pregnancy. If a mother or a woman who is conceiving, her age is less than 17 years, or the one who is age is more than 35 years, so more complications can be arise, because the less age lead to the body is not ready to get conceived. So that time the secretion or hormonal imbalance will be there, that can lead to the more vomiting episodes. And the primi gravida means if a mother is experiencing or having first pregnancy, multiple pregnancy means at a time mother is having twins or triplets. Then underweight or obese mother, they also can experiences the hyperemesis gravidarum. And the psychological factors such as unwanted pregnancy or marital issues, like mother had been conceived, then family has been forced them to continue that pregnancy, and mentally or psychologically mother is not accepting the baby. That situation psychologically also that can be affect and lead to the vomiting. Family history of hyperemesis gravidarum, mother is already like your past generations are having history of that same thing, so you can also get, or mother can also get previous history of hyperemesis gravidarum, like you are conceived for the second or third time, and in your first pregnancy those signs and symptoms were present, that can also be present in second and third pregnancy. Presence of trophoblastic disease. Trophoblastic disease, like in a uterine cavity, there will be formulation of tumors. So that is a trophoblastic disease. If a mother is having these conditions, or previously these conditions were there, so during the conception, mother can have the more episodes of vomiting. Next, incidence of hyperemesis gravidarum. According to the research, hyperemesis gravidarum occur in approximately 3.5 cases per 1000 deliveries. If we are taking like as an estimate, per 1000 deliveries, 3.5 cases are having this hyperemesis gravidarum condition. Now we will see about the causes and the theories behind hyperemesis gravidarum. First one is hormonal theory, because HCG is also hormone, and during pregnancy or during menstrual cycle there will be a changes or imbalances in the hormone in the woman's body, so that can also lead to the nausea and vomiting. Hormonal theory, first the main cause of nausea and vomiting during the first trimester of pregnancy is high HCG associated with the hydatidiform mole and multiple pregnancy. If the mother is developing these two conditions, or mother is being conceived twins babies, that time more HCG secretion will be there. High estrogen levels, increased progesterone lead to the relaxation of cardiac sphincter. That time also, because relaxation, cardiac sphincter will be relaxed, there will be no contractions, so that time also vomiting can be there, means the abdominal content can be come out. And other hormones also involved directly or indirectly, like thyroxine, prolactin, leptin and adrenocortical hormones. These are also hormones which can be affect or which can lead to the hyperemesis gravidarum. Next theory is about psychogenic theory. It is probably aggravated once it begins, it triggers the neurogenic elements. Neurogenic elements like what we are thinking, how we are accepting our pregnancy, that can also lead to the hyperemesis gravidarum. Next, dietary deficiencies. It is probably due to low carbohydrate reserves, as it happens after a night without food. Deficiency of vitamin B1, B6 and protein may be effect rather than the causes. Like mother is having low carbohydrate intake, that time the mother won't be having the more energy, and that time the fat, our body will start to use the fat as a source of energy, and like in night time mother skip the food and morning time she will have the vomiting, so that can also be chances. Next, allergic or immunological basis, like food allergies are there. If mother is taking those food from which she is having allergy, that time she will have vomiting. And during pregnancy mother will get, like mostly the women will get the smell allergies, like from some flour, food, onion, from these things she will get smell allergy, so that can also lead to the nausea and vomiting. Next we will see about the decreased gastric motility has been found to cause nausea. When gastric content is having less motility, like movement, there is no process, no digestion, nothing will be there, that time also it can lead to the nausea and vomiting. Excuse me. Metabolic, biochemical and circulatory changes, we will see one by one. Metabolic effects of hyperemesis gravidarum. Inadequate food intake lead to the glycogen depletion, means deficiency of glucose. Due to low carbohydrate level, there is incomplete oxidation of fat, resulting in accumulation of ketone bodies, that we had been discussed in previous slides. Acetone is ultimately excreted in the breath, like in a breath we can have a smell, acetone smell. Water and electrolyte metabolism are significantly affected, leading to the biochemical and circulatory changes. So it is the metabolic process will be affected if the mother is having hyperemesis gravidarum. Biochemical changes like loss of water and salt in vomiting result in decreased plasma potassium and chloride levels. Like electrolytes, we know chlorine, sodium, potassium, these are the electrolytes in our body. When vomiting or diarrhea will be there, the electrolytes will be lost. So hepatic dysfunction can lead to the acidosis and ketosis. Along with elevated blood urea and uric acid levels, other potential biochemical changes include hypoglycemia, hypoproteinemia and in rare cases hyperbilirubinemia, means those content will be increased in the blood. Next, circulatory changes. What will be the circulatory changes? Hemoconcentration occur, leading to an increase in hemoglobin percentage, red blood cell count and hemocreatine values. These values will be increased due to hyperemesis gravidarum. There is also slight increase in white blood cell count accompanied by an elevation in the eosinophils. Eosinophils number will also increase as WBC count will also increase. Next, we will see about the pathophysiology of hyperemesis gravidarum. The exact cause is not known, only that thing is like many other causes, indirectly we can discuss, like unknown but raised level of human chorionic gonadotropin hormone, that is HCG. Thyroxine and estrogen have been impacted. These are the hormone when they are increasing in the body that can lead to the vomiting. Hyperemesis gravidarum is more common in pregnancies associated with the higher level of HCGs. Like some conditions are there like multiple pregnancy, molar pregnancy. In this condition, HCG will secrete more in more amount. Psychological factors have also been implicated, like psychologically also some factors, how the mother is feeling, how the mother is accepting the pregnancy. Next, some clinical cause or clinical sign and symptom which are being divided into two, that is early and late. Late will have moderate to severe sign and symptom. So first we will see about early. Early signs, the mother will have early signs like vomiting occur throughout the day. Woman may feel like she is having episodes will be there, but full day mother will not in the morning, but full day she will have vomiting. Normal day-to-day activities are done, like in early sign and symptom, vomiting will be there, but mother will be capable of doing day-to-day activity. There is no evidence of hydration and starvation. डिहाइड्रेशन के एविडेंस कोई भी नहीं होंगे और मदर को कोई स्टार्वेशन भी नहीं होगा कि ज़्यादा उसे भूख लग रही, प्यास लग रहा है, ऐसा वाला कोई साइन एंड सिम्टम्स नहीं होंगे. नेक्स्ट, latent sign and symptoms from moderate to severe, like evidence of dehydration and starvation is present. In late signs, mother will have starvation signs also and dehydration will also be present. Next, now we will see about the clinical sign and symptom, clinical features. Sign and symptom, vomiting persistent throughout the day. Full day mother will have many episodes of vomiting. Normal daily activities are disrupted because mother will have dehydration, weakness, lethargy because of that. Initially no signs of dehydration, or in starting stage there will be no signs of dehydration. Later signs of dehydration and starvation may be appear. Weight loss can be there if the for the more days, if nausea and vomiting will be there, then weight loss will be there. Next, excessive vomiting and retching day and night. Epigastric pain will be there because forcefully mother will do the vomiting. When you will have the vomiting, you will feel the pain in epigastric area. Constipation will be there. And then pituitalism. Pituitalism means excessive saliva production, spitting, fatigue, anorexia, loss of appetite. Complication may arise if left untreated. Dehydration and ketoacidosis, dry coated tongue, sunken eyes, acetone smell on breath, tachycardia, postural hypotension, elevated temperature, jaundice in later stage if not treated. Vaginal examination and ultrasound are performed to confirm the pregnancy, like sometime mother won't be aware of pregnancy. Excuse me. Sorry for the interruption. So these sign and symptom can be present. Next, now we'll move towards the investigations. Investigations are as, first we have to do the urine analysis. Urine analysis, Like the mother, if we'll collect the sample of urine, the mother will have dark color urine due to concentration, because mother is having dehydration. Low fluids are there. High specific gravity with the acidic reaction. Presence of acetone, occasional presence of protein and bile pigments. Then reduced or absent chlorine will be there. Next, biochemical and circulatory changes like serum electrolyte, that is sodium, potassium and chlorine, should be measured. The mother will have the high or low, that is only we had seen in later stages. The mother can also develop the jaundice condition. Next, ophthalmoscopic examination means eye examination. What we have to do, testing is required if the patient is seriously ill. Retinal hemorrhage and retinal detachment are the most concerning sign. These condition, retinal detachment or retinal hemorrhage, can be occur for the mother if long duration vomiting is there. Next, ECG, like there will be alteration in the ECG, and ECG should be performed when there is an abnormal serum potassium level. When we are finding out there is a imbalance in the serum potassium level, that time we also have to do the ECG, electrocardiography. That time the mother will have the changes in the ECG. Next, full blood count, hemocreatine is usually raised in the mother who are having hyperemesis gravidarum. Liver function test, that is LFT, may show elevated serum aminotransferase, total bilirubin and mildly raised amylase. These are the proteins which will be increased in the mother, those who are having hyperemesis gravidarum. Abnormality should be resolved as symptoms improves. Next, then thyroid function test, thyroid hormone also somewhere it is relating to increase the hyperemesis. So it may show the high free T3 and low TSH. High free T3 is less common, the woman is clinically euthyroids. Abnormality should resolve as symptoms improve. Like symptoms में अगर improvements आ रहे हैं तो hyperemesis जो vomiting होगा वो धीरे धीरे decrease होगा. But to finding out the clear diagnosis, we need to do the some investigations. Next, ultrasonographic scan to exclude the multiple pregnancy and hydatidiform mole, means मोलार प्रेगनेंसी को आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए और कितनी प्रेगनेंसी है, मतलब ट्विंस या ट्रिपलेट्स तो नहीं है, ये फाइंड आउट करने के लिए अल्ट्रासोनोग्राफिक स्कैनिंग करते हैं. नेक्स्ट, मैनेजमेंट देयर आर 3 प्रिंसिपल फॉर मैनेजमेंट ऑफ हाइपरेमेसिस ग्रेविडारम. फर्स्ट इज टू कंट्रोल द वॉमिटिंग. सेकेंड, to collect the fluid and electrolyte imbalance. 3 स्टैंडर्ड्स पे हमको वर्क करना पड़ता है हाइपरेमेसिस ग्रेविडारम पेशेंट के लिए. पहले तो मेन जो फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी है वो वोमिटिंग को कंट्रोल करना है. सेकंड प्रायोरिटी क्या है, जो इलेक्ट्रोलाइट और फ्लूइड्स का इम्बैलेंस हुआ है उसको करेक्ट करना है. और थर्ड है टू प्रिवेंट और डिटेक्ट द अर्लियर साइन ऑफ एनी ओमनियस कॉम्प्लिकेशन दैट में अराइज. और लास्ट हमारा क्या है कि ये किसकी वजह से हो रहा है, उस कंडीशन को या उस सिम्टम को हमको सबसे पहले सबसाइड करना. तो ये 3 प्रिंसिपल पे वर्क करना है. नेक्स्ट, प्रिवेंशन. हम कैसे प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं. ऑल वुमेन विद नोजिया एंड वॉमिटिंग ड्यूरिंग प्रेगनेंसी शुड बी रीअश्योर्ड अबाउट इट. benign and normal nature. Self-help measures like dietary modification and non-drug treatment should be initiated early, like during the antenatal time or the mother is being conceived. Mother has to be taught regarding the dietary modification, like due to some smell allergy, for this things also mother will have vomiting, so these things has to be taught, like ginger water they can take or aromatherapy they can take, so vomiting will be subside. Any woman with the ketonuria should begin drug treatment with the antiemetics. These measures aim to reduce the number of hospital admission. And if in the starting mother came to know that mother is having ketonuria, then it won't be capable of treating from the home remedies. Then they directly have to visit the hospital and they should start with their treatment. Next, then curative things what we have to do. First, isolation. Severe cases should be hospitalized. It should not be treated at home remedies or in home with the over the counter medication. It should be hospitalized and proper management has to be taken. Then dietary management, like in mild cases, frequent carbohydrate rich meal in the pregnancy, because the mother will have the carbohydrate deficiency that will lead to the ketonuria. So carbohydrate rich diet has to be given to the mother. In severe cases, nothing by mouth, but parenteral fluid should be administered. Like mother won't be capable of taking food from mouth due to vomiting, so IV fluids can be given. Next, management of nausea and vomiting by symptoms, like general supportive measures what we can take. Drink and eat little and often, means whatever we are drinking or eating, we should with a 1 hour of gap, but frequently and small meals we can take. So digestion also there will be no problem and mother will not feel vomiting. Meals high in carbohydrate and low in fat are preferable, means we have to provide the foods or meal which should have high carbohydrate content and less fat content. Cold meals can help to reduce smell related nausea, like sometime when food is cooking they will have a high smells will be there, from that mother will get nausea and vomiting. So we can also serve the cold food to the mother, मतलब जब थोड़ा खाना ठंडा हो जाता है उस समय अगर हम देंगे तो उसका स्मेल इतना ज़्यादा नहीं होता है जो फ्रेश कुक फूड का होता है. Avoid caffeine and alcohol as they can contribute to the dehydration, और कोई भी caffeine related like coffee we should avoid to give to the mother. Next, then non-drug treatment. These are the two non-drug treatment. First is ginger and second is P6 acupressure. It comes under Sujok therapy, like we are compressing the pressure points in the body to reduce some conditions or sign and symptoms. First we will see about the ginger. For there is a recommendation how to use for the mother those who are vomiting. Ginger, जिसे हम हिंदी में अदरक बोलते हैं. First use 250 mg of ginger टेकन 4 टाइम्स डेली. अगर 250 ग्राम हमने जिंजर ली तो उसको 4 डिवीज़न करेंगे और वैसे करके लेनी है. इट कुड बी टेकन इन अ वाटर, लाइक हम बॉइल्ड वाटर में करके फिर ले सकते हैं. सेकेंड यूज 1 टेबल स्पून ऑफ जिंजर सिरप इन 4 to 8 फ्लूइड आउंसेज ऑफ वाटर, टेक 4 टाइम्स इन there are available ginger syrup, like ginger ka juice will be there, so that can also be taken in the water and in 4 times it could be taken in a day. A systematic review on women hospitalized for hyperemesis showed that ginger significantly reduced the degree of nausea and vomiting, means according to the research study it had been found that if a mother is taking a ginger to reduce those symptoms, it is effectively working on it. It will reduce the episodes or frequency of vomiting in the mother. Next, P6 acupressure. Severe systematic review have shown that acupressure on the P6 nigium point located on the ulnar side, like ये wrist से अगर हम 3 फिंगर नीचे मेजर करते हैं तो इनर जो आर्म है वहाँ पे अगर हम प्रेस करते हैं उस पॉइंट को, aspect of the forearm, 3 finger breaths proximal to the wrist, improve the nausea and vomiting symptoms. Other randomized controlled trials, this is a research study, have demonstrated symptom improve with the use of acupressure wristband. No adverse effect on the pregnancy outcome were reported. Like according to this research study, when the pressure points are being compressed according to acupressure, that specific point, the mother is have been reduced the episodes of nausea and vomiting, and there is a no adverse effect because externally we are not using anything, any medicine, any chemicals or anything we are not using, so there is no adverse effect on the pregnancy or growing fetus. Next, recommended drug treatment. Some drugs are being recommended to reduce the episodes of vomiting. First is antihistamines. Medications like prothamazine, prochlorperazine and metoclopramide are the commonly used manage nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. Second drug of choice is phenothiazines. A systematic review found that phenothiazide significantly reduced nausea and vomiting symptoms within no evidence of teratogenogenicity, means harmful effect on the fetus. Why we are used to say, सब लोग बोलते हैं कि प्रेगनेंसी के टाइम पे ज़्यादा मेडिसिन नहीं लेना है. क्यों? क्योंकि वो teratogenogenicity कॉज करता है, मीन्स देर विल बी एडवर्स इफेक्ट ऑन द ग्रोइंग फीटस. बहुत सारी ऐसी मेडिसिन पड़ी हो कि जो उसमें रहता है कि प्रेगनेंसी के लिए कॉम्प्लिकेशन है, प्रेगनेंसी के टाइम पे नहीं दे सकते, तो इस ड्रग से कोई भी प्रेगनेंसी के लिए कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशंस नहीं है. नेक्स्ट, अदर ड्रग्स of choice are like pyridoxine, vitamin B6. The NICE guidelines stated that vitamin B6 is not currently recommended due to concern about potential toxicity at high doses. Cyanocobalamin, like vitamin B12, like mother, according to the deficiencies, after proper doing investigation we will be finding out what the specific deficiency are there. Next is corticosteroids. Short courses of intravenous pulsed hydrocortisone have been shown to be effective treatment for the intractable hyperemesis gravidarum. As evidenced by one study, this treatment is typically administered in the hospital. Like when it comes to the medical management, these are management which has to be kept after admitting the patient in the hospital setting. If raised ketone level persists despite drug treatment, and or if the woman remains unwell, she should be admitted to the hospital for the further management. If they are not capable of treating the mother, then first they have to be referred in the higher center, and mother has to be treated in the hospital till the time these signs and symptoms are not subside. Next we will see about the complications of hyperemesis gravidarum. First is Wernicke's encephalopathy. Encephalopathy means the brain abnormality. The brain won't be capable of working properly. There won't be a proper coordination. Wernicke's encephalopathy is caused by thiamine deficiency. Clinical features include in this condition, some clinical symptoms or features will be there, like diplopia. There will be a double vision. If you are seeing any one thing, the two visions will be formed. Then nystagmus. Nystagmus means by involuntary there will be eye movement will be there. Next is ophthalmoplegia. Ophthalmoplegia means the muscle will become weak, eye muscles will become weak, or there will be a paralysis of the eye muscles. Ataxia means there will be incoordination, there won't be a proper coordination, brain won't be able to give the proper response. So incoordination will be there, and the woman or the patient will feel confused. If left untreated, it can lead to irreversible Korsakoff syndrome, and if these conditions are not being treated, then it can be changed to the syndrome and severe condition, which result in permanent neurological disability, typically presented as inability to form new memories. Like if these conditions symptoms won't be treated well on time, that can lead to the further more syndromes and condition. The person will have some neurological problems and won't be capable of memorizing the thing or making the new memories. Other vitamin deficiencies, like deficiencies in vitamin B12 and vitamin B6, can lead to anemia, peripheral neuropathy, and subacute combined degeneration of spinal cord. And if because of hyperemesis gravidarum, it can also lead to the deficiencies of vitamin that can furthermore will affect our body parts, like growing fetus body parts, like spinal cord deficiencies can be occur. Next, then Mallory Weiss tears or esophageal rupture caused by severe vomiting. When the mother will have the severe vomiting, esophagus, there will be a tear or there will be an internal rupture of muscles in a esophagus, that is this condition. Hyperthyroxemia, elevated thyroxine hormone level. Hyponatremia can lead to the lethargy, confusion, seizures and respiratory arrest. Rapid correction can cause central myelolysis, leading to severe neurological damage. Then mother will also have the complication of depression, affects up to 60% of women, sometimes leading to the thoughts of pregnancy termination. And because it will be for long duration and more episodes of vomiting, mother won't be feel comfortable and wanted, because of that depression and psychological effect, psychologically mother want to discontinue the pregnancy because of these signs and symptoms. Next, then here some dietary modifications and non-pharmacological treatment which are not related to medicines. If the diagnosis of hyperemesis is made and the patient is not found to be dehydrated, then the following dietary and lifestyle modification may be recommended. Like mother is having hyperemesis gravidarum, but till now mother is not having dehydration, means the more severe it is not being changed. So what we have to do, like bad odors need to be avoided from which the mother is having allergies. Eat some crab in the mornings, like some like chips and like these things, light things can be eaten in the morning. Eat when needed, but take less amount of food. Eat small meals often, every 2 hours instead of 3 big meals. यूजुअली हम 3 टाइम में खाना खाते हैं ना, तो उससे बेटर है कि हम 2-2 घंटे में कुछ बस थोड़ा जो एक टाइम में 3 रोटी या 4 रोटी खाते हो, चावल खाते हो, तो वो 1 रोटी खाना है, थोड़ा चावल खाना है, दैट कैन बी डिवाइडेड. नेक्स्ट, सेपरेट सॉलिड एंड लिक्विड फूड बाई एटलीस्ट 2 आवर्स. लाइक अगर हम कुछ अभी सॉलिड फूड ले रहे हैं, दाल चावल ले रहे हो, तो जूस 2 घंटे के बाद जूस लेना है, उसके बाद फिर हम कुछ सॉलिड खाएंगे. तो लाइक दिस फूड्स और मील्स हैज़ टू बी सेपरेटेड. ईट ब्लैंड फूड्स एंड अवॉइड रिच फैटी फूड्स. ब्लैंड मतलब जो जैसे कि मैश्ड फूड्स होते हैं, जैसे मैश बनाना हो गया, मैश पोटैटो हो गया, ऐसे जो ईजिली डाइजेस्टेबल होंगे. ट्राई टू कंज्यूम फूड कोल्ड और एट रूम टेम्परेचर. डोंट टेक हीट हॉट फूड बिकॉज इट विल हैव मोर स्मेल दैट कैन लीड टू दिस वोमिटिंग. Then the brat diet, it will include banana, rice, apples, toast and tea. Sit upright for 45 minutes after each meal. When you are taking the food, you don't have to lie. You have to sit at least for 45 minutes. Avoid caffeine, alcohol and tobacco. In morning sickness is related to vitamin, consult with your doctor about prescribing a different vitamin. If it is because of vitamin deficiency, then you need to go to the doctor and need to get some vitamins according to your deficiency. Then ginger 250 mg 4 times daily, what we had been discussed already. Then motion sickness bracelet like C-bands have been helpful for some women. Sometimes the mother, if you are traveling from 4-wheelers or like that, you will have the motion sickness. So some bands are also available, or before going you should have a little meal or some distractive things you can do while traveling. So this can also reduce the vomiting chances. Next is nursing care. Being a nurse, what is your responsibility for the women, those who are having the hyperemesis? Initiate measures to alleviate nausea, including medication therapy if unsuccessfully, and weight loss. An electrolyte imbalance occurs. Intravenous administration of fluid and electrolyte replacement or total parental nutrition may be necessary. Like as a nurse, you have to see what are the requirements of the mother and what condition the mother is having. So according to that, if mother is capable of eating from orally, that small meals can be given. But if not, fluid has to be replaced, electrolyte balance has to be there in the woman's body because growing fetus is there. So if it is not possible orally, IV fluids can be given to the mother. Monitor laboratory data and for the signs of dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. Regular monitoring of the mother has to be done by a nurse. Monitoring for urine for ketones. Then monitor fetal heart rate, fetal activity and fetal growth. On a regular basis, when patient is undergone with the hyperemesis gravidarum treatment, fetal monitoring and assessment has to be done, whether the fetal movement कम तो नहीं हो रहा है, या fetal activity same है कि नहीं, या fetal heart sound normal आ रहे हैं कि नहीं, fetal क्या movements हो रहे हैं कि नहीं, ये सारी चीज़ें observe करनी है. So next is encourage intake of small portion of food, carbohydrate rich diet लेनी है. Encourage client to sit upright after the meals. Other causes of nausea and vomiting should be excluded. Ketonuria should be managed with the drug treatment. So these things mainly we have to do. We need to take a small meal, 2 hours के बीच में liquid और solid meals को separate करके रखना है. Then we don't have to lie down. बहुत hot food नहीं लेना है, it will have the smells. Next. So it was all about the today's live class, what we had been discussed regarding the hyperemesis gravidarum, introduction, their definition according to DC Datta. Then we had been seeing the causes and theories behind hyperemesis gravidarum, etiological factors, risk factors. We had been seen about the management, dietary management, non-pharmacological management, complications, and in the last we had seen the nursing care for the patient with the hyperemesis gravidarum. Hope you all enjoyed today's live session and stay tuned with us for more live sessions and more update in our YouTube channel rgcsk.edu. Please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel rgcsk.edu. Thank you.